Hey, here we are again on the Ultimate World Cruise. It is March 27th, 2024. It's our second day in Cape Town. Yesterday we did the Table Mountain tour and some of the beach cities in the city itself of Cape Town. Today we're headed out to False Bay and the Cape of Good Hope. This, you can see on that mountain way out there, that's where Cape Town is, and this is called False Bay. And up on top, it's a favorite surfing place. Up on top of the mountain, there's this little shark spotter shed. There's a guy in there looking for sharks. And you can see the wave pattern is really regular here, which is why it's a popular surfing spot. But this is False Bay, so named because in the early days, the sailors used to round Cape Town and think they were at the Cape of Good Hope and come up into this bay only to find out that it was not. And they had to go over one more cape to get the actual Cape of Good Hope before they could head up the west coast of Africa. So here's the rules for the spotter. The flag you don't want to see is the one on the bottom, which is a white flag with a shark on it. And they have a siren system. The guy in there's got a radio, and he can radio down, and they'll turn the siren on. So no binoculars, but hey, hopefully the system worked. The second stop on the way to the Cape was this little private fishing village. You see that big fat seal on the step there. They had to put a fence up to keep him from coming all the way up into the fish market area. Anyway, also a beautiful view from here. And they'd already gotten in with their boats that morning, and most of the catch was already processed, but there was one lady there filleting barracudas and drying barracuda meat, which I'll show you in a minute. But to us, barracuda was always not a very tasty fish because it's so strong. So here's the only person left processing the catch of the day, and she's filleting barracuda. Looks like she's done that before. She knows what she's doing. And they had some drying on the metal braces there. You can see there's a bunch of filleted fish hanging out there, and it's got flies all over it. And it's on metal braces, not very sanitary, and a lot of flies. I wouldn't want to be eating that stuff wherever it went. I don't know. Our next stop on the way to the Cape, a place called Boulder Beach. African penguins. African penguins are a little bit smaller than normal penguins are, and they are indigenous on this southern west coast of Africa only, like South Africa up through Namibia and thereabouts. This is a protected colony here, and they pretty much breed year-round here. Boulder Beach, it's called. There you can see a whole bunch of them in the sand. They just burrow right in the sand here, and other places they make more traditional penguin houses by digging in a tunneling under the bushes and stuff, but I guess they're used to being protected here, so they're just right out in the open. Anyway, these penguins have a little pink spot by their nose and under their eyes that is a salt gland. Everything they eat and drink is salty, and so the salt crystallizes on that gland, and then they shake their head and the salt crystals come off, and so it's like a desalination unit for each penguin. Pretty interesting how they adapt. Water here is very cold, in my opinion. It's about 50 degrees. I forgot to mention that in the other video that we did of Cape Town, but Yeah, the water's cold. You need a wetsuit if you're going to get in it. And it's pretty much that way all year round, so, but the penguins are used to it. Anyway, we've got some more video coming up of False Bay. It's absolutely a beautiful place. It's like one of the most beautiful places I never knew existed, and it would be really fun to come back here and do some more exploring. So that's looking across. The Cape of Good Hope is kind of to your right, and those mountains out there you can see in the distance. Yeah, those mountains that you can see out there in the distance are the False Bay. Cape of Good Hope and Cape Town are off to your right. So as we pan over, you'll be able to see the coast on your right-hand side heading towards the Cape of Good Hope. So our next stop was a lighthouse on top of Cape of Good Hope, and there's a lighthouse up there. There's a funicular that will take you up to the top. And interesting story, when they first built that lighthouse, it's like 250 feet above the ocean. They didn't realize that in bad weather the ships couldn't see the light, so many ships ended up on the rocks out there because they couldn't see the light. And then finally they decided to build one at a lower elevation that was more visible during storms. But there, that's there's a white spot out there just to the right of that guy's head where a lot of ships piled up. There's a reef. You can see the waves breaking over the reef. It's kind of hard to see with the lens here, but beautiful views from out here. Sign there giving the distance to New York City and Paris and all that. Yeah, so when the sailors would sail around that point you can see out there, the low point, they thought that was the Cape of Good Hope, and they turned into False Bay, had to turn around and go back out and around Cape of Good Hope, which is off to your right, and then Cape Town's beyond that to your right. Our next stop after visiting the land, you can see that little white spot out there. That's the reef where the ships have cracked up. Our next stop was a beach, which is down below. That's actually on the Cape, and there's the iconic sign you're going to see in a minute that says Cape of Good Hope, southwesternmost tip of the African continent. So it was a misconception for a long time that Cape of Good Hope was actually the most southern point, but it isn't. There's another point farther east. There's the iconic sign right there. Yes, there is the iconic sign that says Cape of Good Hope, southwesternmost point in the continent of Africa. And as I explained, it used to say the southmost southern point. Now it has to say southwesternmost point because they discovered that it was a little bit farther north, and there's a point on the east side of Cape Town that's a little bit farther south. Anyway, these are random people, but we all had our pictures taken by this sign. And then on the way back to Cape Town, we drove by some other beautiful places. This is called Nordhook Beach, and there's a bunch of horse owners down there that ride their horses on the beach, and there's a hotel right at the foot of where we're taking this picture, where it's a beautiful place to come and stay. And again, the water's cold. It's in the 50s, so not much good for swimming, but it sure is beautiful. Now, one last scenic bay on the way back. This is called Wood Bay. It's where they chopped a lot of the wood down for the buildings in Cape Town. Now, it wouldn't be right to come here and not mention Nelson Mandela, in prison for 27 years, fighting for, nonviolent emancipation and getting rid of apartheid. He was 27 years in jail, 18 of which on Robben Island. He was let out of jail in 1990, elected as president of South Africa in 1994, got the Nobel Peace Prize, just a great man. And this is a statue of him that is found in the city proper of Cape Town. So it was great to come and learn about all things South African, and it was a great opportunity we had to get here. We didn't think we were going to get here when the cruise started, but we were fortunate enough to get a diversion and enjoyed our time here.